that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
If you or your loved one is facing cancer, only Sylvester will stand firmly by your side at every step, from diagnosis through survivorship, providing you and your family peace of mind and assisting with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is South Florida's only NCI-designated cancer center and specializes in treating the most complex cancer cases. Your first-class cancer care is just a flight away. Learn more at sylvester.org.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy, with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governor Square, where they care about my health.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. I have a very exciting interview today with Mr. Philip Scott and Miss Dorothy Davis. And Mr. Philip is going to go through his journeys of cancer, and Miss Dorothy is going to talk about her journey with him. Hello and welcome to For the Health of It.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Philip,
Yep.
let's start. Explain to our audience about your various cancers. It wasn't just one, right?
Right. Yeah. I started off with mesothelioma.
No,
Cancer of the
melanoma.
eye, melanoma.
Melanoma of the eye?
Eye.
Of the eye. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was in 2011.
Okay.
I just happened to go into the eye clinic over at HSA, and the doctor there noticed this thing at the back of my eye and said, "Wow, what's that? That looks like something that is growing back there, you know." So yeah, I got a second opinion. I got that from Dr. Foley, and the answer was still the same. So I got referred across to, I think it was, eventually I got referred to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't lose the sight in the eye?
No. They did radiotherapy. I think it was
Radiation plaques were implanted in the eye.
Right. Which meant that they had to take the eye out, put this thing, put this thing that was like about a 1 penny thing, sort of like attached it to the eye, you know, for a couple of days.
It was for 7 days. Actually, 7 days you were radioactive, so I couldn't even be near him.
Oh wow!
And yeah, well, that's what they said. I couldn't go into the room. I could go in, give him like a glass of water, see if you're fine, and then I had to come back out.
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah, so that was the first
scare.
Then in 2019, 2020, 2019, I think it was. I had something to do with my prostate, and they sent me across to, where was it?
Fort Lauderdale. Your PSA levels were a bit off.
So they sent me up to where's that place up in Florida?
Florida.
Yeah, to get a bone scan.
Yeah, it was somewhere in Fort Lauderdale, one of the hospitals there, to get the nuclear scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuclear scan.
they came back and they confirmed everything, and they said, well, you've got this, and you're going to have to carry out an operation on it.
So you had prostate cancer,
Yeah.
and they were going to have to take out your prostate or something.
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah. So I did a little bit of research, and I found somebody that I thought would be the best person, so, best hospital to do that. That was
University
of Miami.
UHealth or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
They're one of our sponsors.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I went for that. That was in December of 2020. During the procedure, they found a couple of...
the doctor called when he started the procedure and said that he said, has your husband had a procedure done before coming to us? And I said, no, only a biopsy. He said, well, we see there a little bit of nodules.
Yeah.
And before we proceed with the prostatectomy, we're going to send these to a lab to be tested. And if they're okay, we're going to if they're benign, we're going to proceed with the procedure. So they keep updating you during the procedure. So they didn't come back to me, so I knew things must have been okay. So they proceeded with the prostatectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, so they fortunately, they proceeded with a prostatectomy, and they took it for a second opinion, where they went into it a little bit more deeply. That was after I had returned back onto the island, and once they checked it, they came back and they said, we've confirmed that it is malignant. So we had to now start that journey.
But it was malignant. But what it was malignant for was like baffling, because when we met with Dr. Vanita at Health City, she was the one that gave us the news and said, it was malignant, and it's malignant for mesothelioma in the peritoneal lining of the stomach. Because when you hear mesothelioma, you think your lungs.
Yes.
And I thought, when you hear, first when you hear cancer, anything, you're numb, and then you don't even know the right questions to ask. But then that is just so rare.
Yep. So mesothelioma, and this was apparently in the as you said, the lining of the stomach. But they were very fortunate to have actually seen it, because they were so small. These nodules were so small that they weren't showing up anywhere.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
On the scans.
No scans.
scans.
PET scan, because you had a PET scan.
I had everything.
CT scan, the nuclear scan. It was only when they went into this that he saw them. That doctor saw them.
So let's back up a little bit. Mesothelioma is usually associated with
asbestos.
Asbestos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, were you on a ship? Where I guess buildings in the 70s was lined with it.
I'm thinking it might be from a building. Maybe the apartment that I was in back in London or something. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking.
All the schools had it.
Yeah.
Even here.
Yeah.
The schools.
It's frightening.
It is. And they didn't know any better, right?
Yeah.
So, what has been that journey? Because you were getting treated for prostate cancer. Now you went a whole different level. Was that stage 4, stage 3? Because that's what we understand cancer as.
Yeah, but this one didn't have any staging from what we understood. I mean, I can talk about this because you were a little bit out of it. Philip did his research. He's very good at researching. So he did his research to find one of the best doctors in Florida who would be able to do the surgery for mesothelioma. And it's a surgery called HIPEC. I mean, you know about, it's a HIPEC surgery. You want to explain the HIPEC procedure?
Yeah, it was one where they
have to heat the chemo.
Yeah, they go inside and they fill your stomach with this liquid.
Chemo, what they call chemo. It's heated to 100 something degrees. I can't remember the numbers now. And then that's what the surgery was, over 16 hours. And the doctor, before this... 14 to 16, I don't know, but when they called me, it was like over 16 hours. So when prior to the surgery, he had to do all sorts of evaluation. I think you did something psychiatric evaluation, right? Or was something with a psychologist? You met with a psychologist.
This was after the operation, not before.
After. You do, all of the work, but the doctor did say it was going to be a horrible recovery, right? She says it's a horrible surgery. You're going to feel, by the time when he wake up, you're going to feel like some lorries had ran over your body. And now I was picturing was those, those trucks that come in with the trailers and the things going on, how a person's going to feel after that. But after when we got to Miami, I think we had to be there 10 days prior to being admitted in the hospital. So we got to Miami on I think it was the 10th. We got to Miami on the 10th of June 2021, and he was admitted in hospital on June 21st of June. You had the surgery.
Yeah.
Right. You had the surgery. Surgery was, as I say, was a long thing. Drop him off at the hospital at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they wait around, do all the preps and so forth. And Dr. Muller, she, when they were ready to proceed with the surgery, was going ahead and so forth. I was worried. The surgery, hearing anything, nothing. I kept getting a phone call because now I'm using my Cayman number. They have to call me on that. Or I think I got a U.S. phone, but they were calling me. The number was showing up. It was coming from Bosnia and this. And I was there with his cousin. And she was saying, don't answer the phone. And something said, answer the phone. I answered the phone. And the doctor said, oh, Mrs. Scott, like that. My heart, dropped. I'm telling you, I think I stopped breathing when you hear that. And she said, I was worried I was not going to get in contact with you because I've been calling so many times you didn't answer the phone. When she said that when she went in, the nodules were everywhere. She said they were everywhere. But I should say I'm 99.9%. I said that's a 1%. You're not 100%. And she said, I am 99.9% that I got everything. She said there were other little cancers there, but nothing significant. We're dealing with this now. And she said, but having said that, I had to remove a lot of things. Like his spleen had to be removed.
Organs and stuff, yeah.
Had to remove bits of his liver, bits of the pancreas. Gallbladder was removed, appendix removed. I'm trying to think of
everything that could be removed was removed.
Right.
Parts of my
intestine
parts
was
of
removed.
My bladder.
Yeah, was removed.
Oh, yeah.
So there were lots of things that had to be removed. And then she said, well, we will talk. She was exhausted. I could hear that woman was so tired. She said she's going to be in critical ICU we're going to keep him there probably a week or whatever days. You would be able to, so I would be able to visit like the next day, but there are certain protocols because remember now it's COVID time. Right. There are protocols to be in place. So for me to get to him, I had to be in a hazard, whatever that thing, from top. I couldn't, even my handbag, my phone, everything had to go into these plastic containers, and I could just go there. I couldn't touch him. I could just go and look. I could stay for a few hours, but it's like just staying and look. There's tubes everywhere. So he was in ICU for much longer but he was doing well, recovery.
What did you feel when you saw him?
I don't know. I don't even know if there's for me, I get I don't know whether it's this adrenaline something that I start to feel like I'm going to pass out whenever I see anyone in distress. I don't know, that's so weird. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that, and I know I have to put cold water on my face and so forth. So they showed me where I know what I have to do now. Ice. I said I need some ice. So she put the nurse put some ice in a glove and gave it to me. I went back in the room, and because there's tubes everywhere, there's machines there, chirp. Everything you're looking at this, the blood pressure seems so high. There are lots of things going on, and his nurse were 24 hours. So you had a nurse for one period. Like the nurse never came out of the room.
Oh wow.
She was there all the time, and then when they come out of the room to record, it's a little computer outside his room that they would record on. As I say, I couldn't stay. If I go out of the room, I can't come back in. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in there for a little bit. And then I was starving, and the nurse brought me like a cracker or something, and then that was my time. I had to go, and then I'm going back to a hotel. Now, I don't like staying alone, but this is my time now is on my own. I know your cousin was there for a few days. She was there like for 4 days, so that was fine. When she left was a big thing for me. Nobody could come to me, and I couldn't go home. I can't leave him or whatever. And then the hard part about it, after, I think they tried to put him in what they call after weeks in the step down unit. So you go from ICU into, it's almost like a critical care, but a step down where you still monitored quite when. However, when you went there, you weren't doing well, like feeding, because he having feeding tubes and all those things, and you weren't talking. He wasn't really communicating and things.
So, were you conscious, Mr. Phillip?
I think
at that time.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. But,
And what did you feel? Did you feel like giving up?
no, I don't. That didn't cross my mind. But it was just, for me, it was just going through the day. Just hanging on and just going through the day, really.
What were you hanging on? I mean, what made you say, this is life is still worth living, even though did you feel like a trolley had run over you?
To be honest, I didn't even think about that bit.
I think he would. I think you were, but I asked them to put on the. I asked him at one time to just put on the TV, the TV in your room with football. Like he likes the Premiership. Just put that on. Maybe there was because you weren't engaging.
Yeah.
You would sit there and I would talk to him, and sometimes you weren't really saying anything. But when he did say something, that was July 24th. I mean,
that's a month later.
But I couldn't say anything.
No, when you said something, because he had all these tubes and then they had the thing down your throat and thing. You mumbled to me and said, if anything happens to me, I want you to do this. And I said, nothing's going to happen to you. But that day, I did see a change in him. And I remember, because, I was writing down every single thing. I wrote down that when the doctor came, because there were all these different people, you have psychologists coming in, nephrologists, doctor, all kind of specialists coming in. And he was always going to do some procedure because they have to lengthen the feeding tube. Something is going on. They see he was always going for something. There's some bleeding somewhere and all these issues. So we were always in and out of some procedure. And I noticed there was something in his breathing. His breathing seemed a bit off. So they kept doing the, with the oxygen thing, checking the oxygen. Yeah. And they said, but it's okay. So I kept telling the doctor. So when his surgical team came, I said, his breathing seems a bit weird. And again, they said, it's because you're not moving around or so forth. So that was the 21st of July. Now that's a month in hospital, right? Yeah. On the morning of the 22nd, around 5:30 minutes to 6, I got a call from the hospital, and they said, this is the time. I think I was really numb, and they said, your husband struggled last night, and we had to. I never heard for me, he died. That's what I heard, even though and we need you to come to the hospital as soon as you can, but you won't be able to see him, right? You wouldn't be able to see him. So I got up, I got dressed, called an Uber, got to the hospital, and I had to wait a long time because now there were no one, you weren't able to visit the hospital at all. Now they had shut down the hospital because now there's COVID in the hospital, right? And when I got there, I got there in the morning and I wasn't able to see him until probably 1 something, whatever. But the nurse did come down to the lounge and explain to me I said, when they called, I thought he died. She said, no, he struggled and we had to intubate him. I said, oh my God. And then I start with this blame. I say, if you all had listened to me, that wouldn't have happened, because I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And when I went upstairs, it was his, when they took me upstairs, now there were like about 7 doctors in there. And one doctor met me by the door and he said, the worst thing to see that machine breathing for you, because you don't know what is going to be the outcome. I mean, I'm always hearing people never come off of these things. And he came and he said, I just want to tell you that we are doing everything that we can for your husband right now, but he is, it was 3 there, he is very, very, very critical. But he didn't say what was wrong. And I thought it was COVID, that he contracted COVID in the hospital. That's what I'm thinking of. And they put him on a ventilator. And he said, he's very, so we have, he said, this is going to be the team that's going to be taking care of him. And I said, you know, I knew something. Then he said to me, what did you notice? I said, I'm sitting there every day. I've come in every day now because he's in the step-down unit. I noticed there was something. And he must have been feeling something, because this is what he said to me. Usually, I would tell him that I'm leaving at 3:30, 4 o'clock, because that was time for me to leave. And I would say, I'm going, bye. And then he would say, okay, or whatever. And I say, I'll call you later. Whether he's not talking, but he can hear, he can hear me. And he just made notes and thing in his thing. And he said, well, just be rest assured that everything. So that was the last day that I saw him, on July something, until end of August, September, because I couldn't go to the hospital, and I could only call to find out how he was doing and so forth. Then they had to
take me back upstairs again.
Yeah, you were in the critical care area, ICU. Then they had like an iPad that you would see him, and of course he's in a coma now. They had to put you in a induced coma. Yeah, because he wasn't tolerating the ventilator. So he was in a coma for almost over a month or something like that. Really? Yeah. Then they're going to try putting a trach in, where they put the thing, what do you call it, tracheostomy? What a tracheostomy? Right. Whatever they say, that trach in, that's the short form. And when they were doing that, now they put that in, then he was hemorrhaging. So he lost a lot of blood. I remember your doctor said, you know something? Her husband said to her, you have never stayed up a night without sleep with a patient. What happened? She said, we don't know, and we cannot lose this patient. She said, he has come through so much, we cannot.
This was a nurse or a doctor?
This is his doctor, Dr. Muller. And he was just there. But when you said about did you lose hope or whatever, I don't know whether he did, because he was not, they didn't see any progress. They weren't seeing any progress in him.
But was he aware? I mean, he was still in the coma?
When they put in the trach, now they had to take him off of the
vent?
The coma, and put this trach in. So with the trach, he was able to talk. Now you say things. So the first time he spoke to me, was trying to communicate with me. Wasn't clear for me to understand, but I was just going along with it. I was looking at his blood pressure, and it went up to 300. They just disconnected everything with me, so I didn't know what happened. It went up to 300 and something, and they disconnected everything, and I couldn't get the hospital back. I couldn't get anyone until later that night. They called and said, hours after.
This was the iPad or what?
This was with the iPad, yeah. They took it or did something, because the nurse just came out and said that, I'm sorry. She said, I'm sorry, Mrs. Scott, but we have to attend to your husband right now. And she didn't say anything, but I was looking at, because you can see all the monitors. Yeah. And she didn't call me back until a few hours after to say that we stabilized him. His blood pressure was very high. She said, I don't know, we never see people come back with that kind of pressure, but we got him okay. All the doctors, his team is there, he's doing okay and so forth, but you won't be able to talk with him about. And
they didn't tell you what was going on? I mean, what was causing all the breakdowns? Was it the treatment?
It was so many things. He was having seizures. There were just a lot of things, a lot of complications. He was having seizures. He had stroke. He had 2 strokes.
You look you don't look like you're somebody.
Every doctor that he sit in front of can't believe that this is him. I say it's him, not his ghost. I say, what he's been through. It would take us longer than your show to
Yeah.
say what has been through. That journey in the hospital, out of the hospital, because now when he's on the trach and he has a feeding tube, they're trying to get him out of the hospital because they said apparently he contracted pneumonia in the hospital. And I was thinking it's COVID, but they say it's pneumonia, so I'm going with it. But when because he never came back out of that critical care unit or ICU, wherever, he never went back down to the drop-down unit. So, of course, I can't visit. So he's still in this thing. And they were trying to get him to go into a rehab center. So because he's not doing any better or anything, he's not really talking and doing and responding and trying to eat and all of those things, we had to, they wanted to send him to what you would call like a senior's home and assisted living. And I said, no way. We want to go the route because I've already seen the Elin Center, which is a rehab center. So he was then transported to the rehab center. I don't know how that happened because with talking to them the morning by 2:00, he was out to the center with the feeding tube because they say they don't take anyone to the feeding tube. With the feeding tube, everything. So he was placed in a medical unit there. And I was able to stay. He was there for 6 weeks. He had to learn to talk, learn to walk. So he did occupational therapy, speech therapy, physiotherapy every day to learn to do all those things again. So when we came back to Cayman in November, he wasn't walking. He was in a wheelchair. And we spent 14 days in the Reef Resort. What do you have to do? You had to come in.
During quarantine.
And during quarantine.
Yeah.
And during that time, he was trying to do his walk, holding on to the walker and all those things. And then when we got home, I still had to assist him. And then I couldn't have a caregiver. So I had to give him his shots. I had to flush his feeding tube. I had to, I was like the caregiver. Yeah, 24-hour caregiver.
Wow.
I felt like that is another story again. I just felt like I was going to die some days. I was so exhausted, so exhausted because he had to get the care that he needed. And, I'm always telling caregivers to care for yourself, but I wasn't caring for myself, and then nobody could come to us. And all I was thinking about, because they did tell us, when we left Miami, they say to me, which he was in a coma. I mean, at that time when they say to me, when you go back to the Cayman Islands, if he has 3 years, do this. So they had the life expectancy of 3 years, which was last year, September. He's still here.
Still here. So, Mr. Philip, how did you work yourself back up? Because I see you, I will tell you that Mr. Philip and Miss Dorothy, we're neighborish.
Yes.
And I see Mr. Philip walking. Now, I don't see Miss Dorothy walking.
I'm too exhausted.
So, how have you managed to pull yourself through all this?
I don't know. I just actually went for physiotherapy, first with Health City.
Yeah, Health City, and then Cayman Physio.
And then Cayman Physio. They suggested that I do my walking and stuff, so I did a lot of that, on and off.
Of course.
Yeah, but some days are good and some days are...
Yeah.
You have good
some
and bad days.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still... not 100, still the struggles and it's... I guess that comes with the... And now you're doing your checks again. You're doing your checks and you're holding your breath and what is going to be. But then you can't see this cancer unless you go into the stomach. So you don't know if it's there or what is it lingering there, although you still do. So what they said is more clinical things like if the stomach is hurting, is distended, all those.
That's the difficult thing about it, because with most you can see it growing or shrinking or whatever. With these, there's just tiny nodules, and they were supposed to be everywhere. So,
can I ask you, because we're coming to the end now,
yeah.
What would you want our audience to hear? First from you and then Miss Dorothy, how you're as a caregiver. But you got to kind of be a little bit quick.
Well, basically, I think I've had an extension of my life. I'm 70 now. most people that I know, most of my classmates and people that I grew up with, a lot of them have all gone. Yeah. So for me, it's like every day is an additional bonus. Yeah. So you keep on going.
And most of the people that he was doing chemo with at Health City have passed on.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So you have a spirit for life.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God or Miss
Whatever.
Dorothy? Which one? Or both?
Both.
Both.
I say he has a purpose other than driving me crazy, but there's a purpose.
And Miss Dorothy, what would you tell the people who are caring for?
Okay, well, one of the things across is that you have to advocate for good care in a hospital. Even though that hospital is a top-notch hospital, you still have to advocate for good care, cleanly environment, and so forth. And of course, you have to care for yourself, but you have to speak up. I mean, if I wasn't there to speak up for him and demand the care that he should get, because I was always telling him, listen here, we're not indigents here in the United States. We're not on, I was shouting, I said, we're not on Obamacare or any Medicare or anything. You know, you're paying for this. And I mean, thank God for Cynical. So, you know, we expect the care, but just don't wait, you know, like, there's no way my husband is going into no senior's home to be left there. The doctor visit once a week there. Physiotherapy is once or twice a week. It's just left there. He would be left there to die.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but no care. I said no, that's not going to happen. I don't know. I mean, I was like shooting bullets that day. It was not spitting them or whatever. It's not. But so I want people to know when their loved one is overseas, they have to be the spokesperson. They advocate, learn about these procedures, learn about the doctors, and do your research, everything.
Thank you both for being on For the Health of It. We are moving you to the life you want.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy, with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governor Square, where they care about my health.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Lightroom, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
One in a million.